Hey guys, what's up? Nick here once again. Today we're going to be going over should you be buying a CloudLifter for your Shure SM7B. So let's get right into it. Now, if you don't know what a CloudLifter is or what you'd be using it for, and maybe you just purchased this SM7B or you're looking at getting one, you're like, I've heard about this little device that you essentially need if you are going to be plugging it into a lower end audio converter or audio interface in order to get the utmost amount of sound out of your Shure SM7B. Now, this is both correct and incorrect, and I'm going to get more into this in a minute, but I'm going to be going over this video the differences between having a CloudLifter plugged into your audio interface and not having one, and what the sound quality differs and what the volume levels differ and all of that, so you get every ounce of information in this video for your needs. Mainly because I didn't see any other videos on the website, on YouTube, showing the differences between the CloudLifter and not having a CloudLifter with a Shure SM7B. When I bought this microphone, I had no idea about any of this stuff. I just knew about XLR microphones. I knew I had an audio interface and I needed it to be plugged into there, and it should be working right away. But as soon as I bought the Shure SM7B and I plugged it in, got it all set up, I noticed right away that on my audio interface, I had to crank my gain pretty much all the way to 100, if not around 90%, to get a full enough sound so you could hear me in recordings. If I had it where I normally had it with my old condenser microphone around like 50%, you could not hear anything out of this microphone. Like, I could yell into it and you could be able to hear me, but that would be about it. So I was kind of bummed that I had to have my gain so high up. The main reason is because when you turn your gain past about 80% on most interfaces out there, like if you're using the Scarlett TI2, or in my case, I'm using the Behringer Euphoria UMC204HD. I know it's a mouthful, but that's the exact one that I use, the 2-input audio converter / interface, and it has phantom power and all that. But with this guy, it's a dynamic microphone, so you do not need phantom power. I'll get more to that in a second. But when I plugged it in, I had it all ready to go, and I noticed that I had to have it turn all the way up. And when you turn it past 80% on their gain for a microphone, especially a dynamic microphone, it's going to pick up a lot of that white noise in the background, or the higher end sound floor, I should say. So if you don't want to raise that sound floor too much and you want to be able to have clean, nice gain, the only way to change that is to either buy a more expensive audio interface / mixer, like the Go XLR is a very good one, but very hard to find nowadays, or getting a CloudLifter. So essentially what the CloudLifter does, and I have it right over here on my desk, is you plug in the microphone to the CloudLifter and then the CloudLifter to your audio interface, and it adds 25 decibels of clean gain. So it doesn't add extra noise into the gain, or volume, I should say, really. And now what that allows me to do is on my audio interface, I now have it set to around 50% for the gain, but you're able to hear me loud and clear. And if I turn it up to like 60%, that's when it even starts peaking at times where you're getting too much gain from your microphone. Essentially, it just doesn't sound good. It sounds muddy and gross. So we are going to, in this video right now, test the differences between having a CloudLifter plugged into your SM7B going into your audio interface and not having a CloudLifter. And again, I will repeat, this is with a lower end audio interface, roughly around $200 or less. If you do have a more expensive audio interface or mixer, you're probably not going to need a CloudLifter because it will give out enough power in order to raise the decibels in your gain without having to have too much white noise and all that. So again, this is just for the lower end audio interfaces. So right now you are hearing my microphone, the SM7B, running through a CloudLifter at about 50% gain on the audio interface. Now you are hearing the Shure SM7B without the CloudLifter running through the audio interface. Now I moved the gain to about 85%. So hopefully you can hear a little bit of a difference. If not, maybe try on putting some headphones on if you're not already, and you may hear a little bit more of the white noise in the background and maybe more clarity in my voice overall. Now this is what a CloudLifter looks like. It's a little blue box. It's kind of hefty, and it runs $150. So this is definitely the biggest thing that people are scared to buy. They're kind of like, why do I need it? And this video hopefully tells you if you need it or not. Again, I'm running the Shure SM7B right now without it. So this is, you're hearing the direct audio right to my interface. I just have the gain at 85% in order for you to hear me clearly through the audio. Now, using this for a couple of days now, I have noticed a massive change in the audio quality, as well as obviously not having to have my gain cranked all the way up, especially if I'm not talking. Now, you can fix some of this with some post-processing or equalizers, whether you're using it through OBS or any video editing program, especially if you use a noise gate. You can cut out a lot of that white noise if you're not talking, but it doesn't 100% fix the problem. And on top of that, if you're ever doing any type of vocal recording or any recording that doesn't just involve you talking directly into a microphone, that is where the CloudLifter is going to come into play and be a very nice asset to you. Main reason is because if you're already cranked your gain all the way up in order to just hear yourself through the recording, you're going to run into a lot of issues down the road, especially if you were a vocalist and you're recording stuff for music, for instance. So I recorded myself singing a cover of a song a couple days ago just to test it out before I got the CloudLifter, and I did one afterward as well. And the thing I noticed is that because I have to have the gain so high, once you hit certain notes, if you go, high octave, you really start to peak at high decibels pretty easily with your gain set to 85% on your audio interface. Now, as soon as I plugged in the CloudLifter and I was able to move it down to 50%, didn't have that issue one bit. And this microphone is $400. It's meant for vocals. It's meant to be recorded for studio purposes. And if you can't even record regular vocals singing without it peaking at high decibels, that is a problem. However, I will say if you're just a content creator, YouTuber, streamer, you're probably not going to run into that problem at all. And that's why I personally would say the CloudLifter wouldn't be worth it. If you already have an audio interface and you can make it sound like this without the CloudLifter, then you're probably good to go. But again, if you are going to be using it for any other type of purposes of recording, whether that's vocals or maybe even if you are a content creator and you yell a lot or you make a lot of loud noises and you don't want it to peak all the time, then the CloudLifter is going to save your life 100% with all of your recordings. So again, you just plug in the microphone, has an XLR cable goes into this side, and then you have a separate XLR cable that goes from this side into the audio interface. The biggest difference as well is you do need the audio interface to have phantom power to power the CloudLifter. Whereas if you're not using the CloudLifter, you absolutely do not need phantom power for the microphone. So right now I have it turned off. If you do have phantom power on with your Shure SM7B, it can damage the microphone over time because you're giving it too much power that it does not need as a dynamic microphone. So the next test we're going to do is just straight white noise. I'm going to be quiet. I'm not going to talk. I'm going to raise the volume a little bit in post-processing so you can hear it a little bit better. This is going to be the sound floor without using the CloudLifter. Now, this will only work if you are wearing headphones. So again, I recommend pausing the video, putting some headphones on, and hearing it that way to get a sure difference in sound. So again, this is the sound floor on the Shure SM7B without a CloudLifter. And that was at 85% for the gain. All right, and now we have plugged in the CloudLifter to the audio interface, turned on the phantom power, and we have our gain set to 50%, so quite a lot less. Now here we go for the sound floor. All right, so hopefully you could hear a little bit of a difference between using the CloudLifter and not. Again, you're probably only going to notice this if you have headphones on, but that essentially is the sound floor test for both. And in my personal opinion, I definitely notice more white noise overall when you're not using the CloudLifter because you lower the gain exponentially down to 50% from 85 to 90%. So it definitely does help. Now, in the end, is it worth it? The overall question, is it worth $150 for a CloudLifter if you have a Shure SM7B? In the end, I truly believe that it just comes down to what you're doing with your microphone. If you are a content creator, if you're a streamer, YouTuber, and that's it, you are not using it for anything else, not recording vocals, not recording instruments, just for like podcasts or like vocals only, right? then personally I would say you could save money, save 150 bucks and don't get the CloudLifter and just use the microphone as it is and crank up your gain pretty much all the way to be able to record properly. Now, if you want the absolute best sound quality out of your microphone because you're paying $400, a premium price for your Shure SM7B, then yes, 100% I would agree getting the CloudLifter will save you not only just in terms of your audio quality, but overall your production quality too. It sounds way better overall, and you get the ability to record more with your microphone than just vocals, because you can lower that gain and have a lower sound floor. So yes, I 100% agree that the CloudLifter is worth the $150 price tag, but only if it's in your budget and only if you really feel like you're going to be needing it. So it in the end, it's personal preference. Hopefully this video helped you in some way, shape, or form, gave you some actual evidence as to what the differences is between having the CloudLifter plug-in and with it not. Just for reference, right now we have it plugged back in and I'm recording this whole ending sequence with it plugged in. So hopefully you can go throughout the video, recheck it part by part and see the differences and hear the differences between having it plugged in and not, and seeing if the quality difference is really that exponential to the point of, is that justifying you paying $150? The last thing I will say is if you are looking in the market for a brand new microphone and maybe you haven't even purchased the SM7B yet, maybe look around somewhere else. Maybe look at a different microphone. There is hundreds of options out there for streamers and content creators that don't involve having to buy a CloudLifter on top of the microphone. Now, my personal opinion, I love this microphone. I have had no issues with it whatsoever. The only downside really was how low the volume was, and that's why you needed to buy a CloudLifter. But if you don't want to deal with that, there is other options out there where you can get a $500 microphone, which will basically be the same price as buying a CloudLifter with a Shure SM7B, and you might have a better experience with it overall and not having to worry about a CloudLifter. So, again, it's all personal preference in the end. So take what I've been saying with a grain of salt, but I really hope I helped in some way, shape, or form. If you do have any specific questions or something I didn't go over in this video, let me know in the comment section below, and I'll reply to everybody that I can whenever I can. Leave a like, share, support as always, so you can see more videos like this in the future. Subscribe so you don't miss the next one, and we'll hopefully see you in the next one. Peace out.